Verleen Bob-Lewis, she's, as I mentioned earlier, she's a technical advisor, Division of Education, Innovation and Energy, and she's in Tobago right now, and we would like to chat with her this morning. Good morning. Welcome, Dr. Bob-Lewis.
Hi, good morning, and thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to have you on this morning. So first of all, we'd like to know...
It's a pleasure here as well. I always talk about how smoothly you conduct your interviews. I always listen to you.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. So I'd like to find out a little bit about the Division of Education, Innovation and Energy. What are some of the roles and function of this particular organization?
All right, well, the Division of Education, and I'll deal with education more specifically, is responsible for early childhood, primary and secondary, and now we have embraced post-secondary and tertiary education.
Well, that's a very, a huge role in that, you're grooming the future. They're very impressionable. So let's talk a little bit about some of the new initiatives and innovative programs that are ongoing and others that are set to kick off.
Right, thank you. Yes, and innovation is important. So from 2017, there were many innovations, and for 2018, we have some new ones as well. In 2017, with the coming of the new administration, an instructional coaches program was introduced to focus mainly on literacy and numeracy. When we evaluate the results of our national test and our C exams, we realized that we were not proficient, the students were not proficient in numeracy and literacy. And we wanted to turn that around. And we have put a 3-year time frame within which time we think that our students must be proficient in literacy and numeracy. So 6 literacy coaches and 6 numeracy coaches were assigned to all the primary schools in Tobago. And I should go back a bit where we had a remedial program in secondary schools, and we thought that was too late. We thought that we should do the remediation at the primary level so that when the students enter secondary school, they'll be proficient in literacy and numeracy. By the end of this year, we'll evaluate that program to measure its successes or what shortfalls to determine how to move forward.
All right.
So that's one.
Okay.
And we also are in the process of partnering with some of our I would say for Tobagonians living abroad, and they've introduced what they call a Chrome book initiative. One called Mind Play, and the other one called My On. And we met a Dr. Brian Yearwood, who's we say a son of the soil. His father and mother taught in Tobago, and they have introduced 2 schools as a pilot project with this Mind Play and My On, to improve literacy among our students. And we're going to also measure the success of that program and to determine how we move forward in encouraging other schools to embrace the program. So far, we have started to see success. We see the enthusiasm of the students, even as they interact with the Chromebooks. And it's something that you can measure daily. The students are on it, and we're able to see what their weaknesses are, what their strengths are, and we have follow-up exercises to help improve. So we have started that program in January. It's just about 1 month, and we're going to be measuring that within a 6-month time frame.
All right, so the Chromebook, for those who are not too familiar with this particular initiative, what exactly is it? It's a piece of technology?
It's a piece of technology. It's a computer.
Right.
But then it's programmed, and we have the software attached to it where the students can go on and actually read. Then you're able to measure the errors, and it tells you the weaknesses in phonics, the eye coordination, left to right coordination. Everything is captured in the data. And then we go through the data, and we're still in the process of learning. And we have some partners that are really interested in the improvement of our students here. So we communicate with them weekly. They're able to tell us what the assessments are showing. So we are able to read it now. to determine how to move forward, which exercises we should follow up with. And we are seeing improvement even after 1 month.
All right, so I'd like to talk a little bit about special needs children and how our system is currently structured in order to accommodate these types of children with these, learning disabilities as well as gifts and talents, because most of the times when you assess special needs children, you find that they are geniuses in their own right. How is the system really structured right now to accommodate special needs students?
Right, and I am happy that you mentioned that, because we look at the two spectrums. We look at those at the lower level and those at the higher level. We have 2 schools in Tobago that cater for students with special needs. We have the School for the Deaf, as we call it, and we have Happy Haven. But even within our regular schools, we, from time to time, identify students with special needs as well. So we try to cater for these needs. So with that special program that I mentioned before, with the instructional coaches, they go through the schools and they work with the principal and teachers, identifying those students who are slower learners and devise programs and strategies to assist those students. So we have that happening. In the Happy Haven and the School for the Deaf, we have teachers there who have studied special education and are equipped to assist the students at that level. We are in the process of considering new programs for those schools, because sometimes there's a feeling that they're not been given as much as they should. So we are working on a plan now to even improve the offerings at those schools. At the higher level, we love to deal with our accelerated learners. Sometimes we neglect them. And within our schools, we have what we call the high flyers, or the accelerated learners. And we're encouraging principals and teachers to move those students to as high a level as they could get. And maybe I should mention at this time that within the next month, towards the end of March, we will be setting up what we call a teachers professional center. At that center, we'll be catering for all groups of students, especially the accelerated learners, where we'll be equipping teachers with strategies to move those students up to a higher level. The center is now being equipped. We're going to be focusing heavily on technology. We're going to be sending materials and programs to the school to help all groups of learners, including those with special needs and those at the higher level. Sometimes when we look at the education system and we see how teaching and learning is conducted, we realize that you cater for most of us, our teachers cater for the students at the average level. And we sometimes don't spend enough attention to the other 2 extremes. So we hope to be assisting schools, principals and teachers in particular, with methodology, with strategies, with resources to help all levels of students.
So you would say definitely that you all have been moving away from the usual chalk and talk teaching methodology.
Yes, we are moving, but it's still difficult. Some people are accustomed using a particular methodology, but we're hoping to move people away from that. And with the use of the Chromebooks, as I mentioned before, we are seeing that tendency to move away, to use other strategies. Because when we talk about these digital natives, the students who you give them a cell phone and they would know what to do in a jiffy. And we are saying if you use those same resources in your teaching learning process, our students are going to do better.
All right, I want to talk also about discipline and the importance of that PTA body. And how have you all been working along to get parents on board? Is it a challenge at the moment?
Well, it varies. In some schools we have no problem with indiscipline, but we have sporadic cases of indiscipline in some schools. There are some schools that don't complain at all. They work with the PTA, they work with other agencies to instill discipline among students. But from time to time, we have cases of indiscipline, which we are trying to work with. We have our student support services that provides assistance to schools, sometimes in terms of students who display undesirable types of behavior. We have within the schools themselves, they have their discipline matrix, their discipline plans to deal with indiscipline among students. But as in every other part of the world, I guess, in Trinidad and Tobago, you will have cases of students who are indisciplined. But we are working with our PTAs, we work very closely with the PTAs, and we encourage them to support the school. As a matter of fact, about 3 years ago, we had what we call a discipline caravan, and we went from community to community, trying to encourage parents to train your children in a particular way, guide them so that when they go to school, they will benefit from the education that is being delivered to them. There was partial success. I think we should have continued it a little longer, but we didn't. We are looking at other strategies now, working with parents to improve discipline in all schools.
That discipline caravan sounds amazing, and something I'm sure we need here in Trinidad as well.
Yes, what we actually did, we went to the streets, the more popular streets in Tobago. We went to, on Friday afternoons when most people are liming, as we call it, liming and maybe having some kind of drink. And we spoke to the mainly mayors that we found at those junctions and corners. And we had giveaways. It was supported by the private sector. And we answered questions and we had giveaways. And we're looking at restarting that program just to encourage parents to improve the levels of parenting so that we'll improve discipline in schools on the island.
Dr. Verleen Bob-Lewis, closing comments. What would you like to say to those looking on? And, they may have kids, they may be wondering, their kids probably, they are, in that category of special needs. What would you like to see?
I would say that we continuously communicate with our stakeholders to decide what is best for our schools, what is best for our island, what will make our students perform at a higher level. We're looking at educating our parents. We're introducing new programs. We have a new program we call a construction training program. And in that program, there are parents there. That's for ages 17 to 60. And even in that program, we have the soft skills that we encouraging you to take care of your children, take care of the other children in your community who may be displaying behaviors that are undesirable. And so even as we're looking at early childhood and trying to improve that level, in the not too distant future, building 5 early childhood centers on the island. So we hope from nursery to tertiary, we'll improve education for the benefit of our students and for the development of our island.
Dr. Bob-Lewis, certainly a pleasure chatting with you this morning on a very, very important topic. All right. Have a great day.
Thank you very much.